So we're now in Module 4. Module 4 is all about legal aspects and matters and its relations with the radiologic technologies. So in this module, we will be discussing the contract, the legal contract. Bakit kailangan nating malaman as a radiologic technologist kung ano yung mga certain aspects and matters regarding uh, a contract. Kasi, syempre, when we get employed, may contract tayong pipirmahan. Okay? And other legal terms. Okay? So, first we define contract. So, basically, contract is a meeting of minds between two or more parties. May meeting of minds. Ang contract, hindi porke wala siyang written or paper ay walang contract. May mga verbal contract as long as there is a meeting of minds. So a contract is an agreement mutually arrived by two or more individuals or parties, okay, to do a particular thing in exchange for some consideration or benefits. Okay? So, ang contract, sinasabi nga dyan, between two or more parties. Not only between two or more parties, but specifically between two equal individual or equal parties. Okay? Hindi siya between a superior and an inferior party. A contract is always between equals. Okay? So equal in terms of parehas kayong may makukuhang benefit from each other. Okay? So the key word here is the meeting of minds. So hindi sinabing a contract is a document, but it is a meeting of minds. Okay? Diba? Agreement or mutual agreement. Okay? So, hindi lang yan sa may document, may pinirmahan kayong document or wala. As long as there is a employer-employee relationship. Okay, so, sir, paano po natin ma-recognize if there is an employer-employee relationship? Okay, so, ma-recognize ito kapag there is something that you do for, let's say, a particular company, okay, na may job description, okay, aside from the job description, okay, meron kang payslip, may payslip ka na natatanggap, okay, and then dun sa payslip, makikita mo kung ano yung mga nakuha mong benefits. If there are benefits, so basically there is an employer-employee relationship. Why? Because in a contractual, sa isang contractual employment, wala siyang employee, employer-employee relationship. Okay? So, let's say, ano example ng mga contractual, di ba yung sa mga supermarkets or sa mga big supermarkets like SM. So, yung iba doon, or karamihan sa kanila, hindi sila direct hired. Diba? Directly hired ng SM as a company. Usually, there is a third party. So, let's say, ako yung cashier, or ako bagger sa supermarket, ang employer ko hindi SM. Ang employer ko is a manpower company. Let's say, Ang pangalan ng manpower company ko is ah, basta yung wala pa isip na pangalan. Nag-isip talaga. Anyhow, yun. So, ang meron akong employer-employee relationship is yung aking manpower company. Si SM, walang pakialam sa akin na sa employee. Hindi ako employee ni SM. Kasi, pinadala lang ako or in-outsource ako ng SM from a third party, which is the manpower company. So yun yung isa sa mga masalimuot na issues or social issues na hanggang sa ngayon ay gustong baguhin ng mga workers. Kasi sinasamantala ngayon ng mga big companies yung contractualization na usually hindi nila pinapaabot ng 6 months kasi after 6 months na-consider na regular. And doon sa mga manpower agency, hindi naman sila nag wala rin silang nare-regular kung hindi nga mga contractual basis. So kapag mga ganong contractual basis, so walang benefits, walang SS, walang health benefits, walang bonus. 13-month pay, yes, meron kasi it is required by law. Okay? Next. There are different types of contract. Okay? So, number one is formal contract. Ano ba yung tinatawag natin yung formal contract? So, formal contracts ay mga kontrata na in compliance with special formalities required by law such as donations, mortgages of real property. So, ano yung tinatawag na donations? Meron tayong tinatawag na deed of donations. Okay? So, let's say, your parents may pamamana sa inyo na certain property. So, yung parents nyo, gagawa sila ng deed of donations. Between, yung contract na yun is between you and your parents. And it is a formal contract because ito ay ginagawa alinsunod sa batas, sa law. Meron siyang specific format. So, bakit siya ginagawa in accordance to law? Kasi may tax, may donor's tax. Diba? And remember, ang tax sa mundong ibabaw ay from womb to tomb. Pinanganak ka, nagbabayad ka na ng tax. After mong mamatay, magbabayad ka pa rin ng tax. Okay? Then in formal contract naman, so these are results of written documents or correspondence which the law does not require special formalities. Okay. So, ito yung mga informal contract na ano ba yung correspondence na tinatawag? So let's say, meron kayong informal na, meron kayong kasunduan between you and your friend na pagsososyo kayo, okay? At ang magiging partition ninyo ng kita is let's say 60-40 or 30-70, depende sa papag-usapan nyo. Then it is an informal contract. Okay, next is express contract. Okay. Kulang ako ng ED. That should be expressed. Diba? Pinahiwatig na contract. So, those are contracts where the consent of the parties is given expressingly or expressly either in writing or verbally. Okay, so express contract. So ah, hindi siya masyadong formal, wala din siyang format katulad ng informal contract. Okay? More on parang, okay, pag nanalo ka, sa'yo na to. Then nagkapirma kayo or verbal agreement, may meeting of minds. So that is already an express contract. Okay? Then implied contract. Okay. Those contracts where the consent of the parties is not given expressly but is deductible or deducible from the conduct or acts of the parties such as an implied agency. Okay. So, kung iahalin tulad natin to sa implied uh, consent, medyo may kaibahan. Kasi dito, wala namang unconscious na party. Kasi nga 'di ba? Ay magiging invalid ang isang contract kung ang isang party ay unconscious or wala sa kanyang sound mind. Okay? So in the implied contract, okay? So pinagpapalagay dito na meron kayong meeting of minds dahil or valid yung contract dahil hindi naman pinipigilan nung isang party or ng both parties yung kung ano man yung napagkasunduan. Okay? So, walang actions na pumipigil in the fulfillment of the contract. Lahat ng actions na nangyayari ay favorable between the favorable do sa agreement na nagawa. Kaya siya ay implied contract. Okay? So requisites of a contract, ito yung mga kinakailangan para ang isang kontrata ay maging valid. Okay? Alinman sa isa sa mga ito ang wala, ang hindi present, the contract is invalid. Okay? So, of course, the contract must be between two or more person. Alam namang gagawa ka ng contract, solo ka lang. Diba? Sino ang kakontrata mo? Sarili mo? Parang tanong ko, sagot ko. Diba? Saklap. So, number 2 or second, there should be consent. And the consent should be freely given. Okay. So, halimbawa yung contract, may consent nga. Diba? Usually, ano bang sign ng consent sa contract? Signature or thumb mark. Okay. So, example, nabalitaan nyo naman siguro yung nangyari kay Apo Wangod sa Nas Daily. Okay? So, okay, may contract daw, may thumb mark daw si Apo doon sa document. However, may nagsalita na relative na sinasabi na Apo Wangod was coerced, pinilit or hindi binigyan ng proper explanation regarding the whole contract, etc. etc. So, meaning may coercion na nangyari. And if there is coercion, then consent is not freely given. Okay? So parang pinilit. Okay? Na merong use of force para mapapayag or ma-obtain yung consent. Then, object or subject matter must be specified. Okay. So, the contract must have a specific subject matter. Tungkol saan ba itong kontrata na to? Okay. Hindi pwedeng malabo pa sa adobong pusit. Okay. Next, cause of the obligation is established. Okay. In every obligation, there's always a corresponding right. Okay. So naka-specify doon sa kontrata kung ano yung obligation ng bawat parties at ano rin yung karapatan ng magkabilang party. Okay? So, very specific ang contract. So, let's say sa deed of donation, okay? So, naka-specify doon, yung magdo-donate, ibibigay niya yung kanyang property doon sa, let's say, sa kanyang anak. Itong si anak niya, siya yung magbabayad ng donation tax, which is, I think, 30% ng halaga nung binibigay na property. So, yun. So, obligations. Okay? Then, next, kailangan of course, nasa legal age ang pipirma ng contract para maging valid. Kung hindi, or kung minor pa, of course, nandyan yung mga tinatawag na surrogate or legal guardian. Or, of course, nearest of kin, yung nasa immediate family. Okay. When we say immediate family, okay, ang makaka-count lang as immediate family, let's say, ako, so, ang immediate family ko dahil ako single, so my immediate family are my parents and my siblings. Okay? Kapag naman ikaw ay married, ang immediate family mo na ay uh, ang tawag doon, your spouse and your children. Okay? So, hindi mo na immediate family yung parent mo at yung siblings mo. Okay? So, doon lang maglalaro yung immediate family. So, meaning, yung nearest of kin ko ay yung aking parents. Or kung meron akong sibling na nasa proper age na or legal age. Kung wala naman, wala akong sibling na nasa legal age, tapos wala na akong parents, so legal guardian. Legal guardian, again, it is a guardian or a person delegated by the court. Okay? Kaya siya legal guardian. Hindi yung guardian na pinapipirma nyo sa excuse letter nyo. Diba? Na nakalagay LBM ko, no? Yon, next. And of course, parties must be in sound mind, nasa katinuan. Hindi unconscious, hindi wala sa wisyo, okay? Hindi siya, wala siyang any psychological disorder during the time in which the contract is made. Okay? Next, ayun nga, kailangan walang coercion na mangyayari. They must not in any way be forced into a contract. Kailangan the consent must be freely given. Okay? And parties involved must consent to the contract. So yun. Ulit-ulit sinasabi yung consent dahil ito yung pinaka-importanting element ng isang kontrata. Yung consent. Okay? So may question po ba sa requisites? Okay. If none, let us continue to the next one. Breach of contract. So, madalas natin naririnig to kapag nagkakaroon na ng kasuhan ng lawsuit. Okay? So, breach of contract exists when a party or either party violates something in the contract or something that is clearly stated sa contract. Okay, let's say prevention of performance, abandonment of duty or obligation, okay, failure to perform because of inconvenience, of difficulty dun sa napagkasunduan. So that lahat yan ay grounds for breach of contract. Halimbawa, ikaw ay empleyado at nakasaad sa kontrata mo, nakalagay dun mismo, naka-specify sa iyong contract that every 2 years, magkakaroon ka ng increase sa sweldo. Every 2 years. However, 5 taon ka na sa trabaho, hindi ka man lang nakatikim na kahit 10 pisong dagdag sa sweldo. So, therefore, pwede mo na siyang ireklamo as breach of contract. Okay? So, saan pwedeng magreklamo ang isang employee? Pag may kinalaman uh, sa trabaho or sa employer-employee relationship. So, meron tayong tinatawag na National Labor Relations Commission or NLRC. Okay. Sa NLRC, doon nagpapay ng mga labor cases. Okay? So NLRC is under the Department of Labor and Employment. Okay, so doon nagkakasuhan sa NLRC. At yan ay civil cases. Okay? Civil case. So, alam niyo, pag sinabi civil case, damages. Okay? May perang pinag-uusapan. Okay. Lucid interval. So, lucid interval refers to a particular period in which an insane person, okay, baliw na tao, or isang tao may psychological problem or neurological problem or psychiatric something, okay, regains sanity. Okay? So bumalik yung kanyang katinoan. Okay. And during that interval or that period, ay halimbawa nag-issue siya ng contract. Okay. Or gumawa siya ng kanyang last will and testament on that period. Doon sa tinatawag natin lucid interval. Okay. So that document, either if it is a contract or a will, so that will be considered a valid document because the consent given in the during this lucid interval is freely given. The the testator or the executor is in sound mind kasi nga 'di ba na-regain niya yung kanyang sanity. Okay? So yan yung tinatawag na lucid interval. Okay? Usually nangyayari naman yan sa mga tao na may ganyang conditions. Okay? During my stay in Tagaytay, tumira ako sa Tagaytay for 3 years. Okay? And doon sa aming apostolate area, meron doon meron siyang psychiatric problem. Okay? Siya naman ay na-release na or pinauwi na, dineclare na siya na recovered. Okay? So technically nanggaling na siya sa National Center for Mental Health. So nagkaroon ng lucid interval. So for let's say I think for 3 years itong taong ito ay yun, namuhay ng normal. However, after 3 years, bumalik yung kanyang problem. At dahil sila ay nasa sakupan ng aming apostolate area, ayun, sinamahan namin sila na dalhin yung pasyente sa National Center for Mental Health. And according to the psychiatrist, maaaring na-trigger daw uli yung pasyente sa kanyang recent experiences. Kaya bumalik yung condition. So, lucid interval is real. Kumbaga, hindi porke ikaw ay na-diagnose with certain psychological or psychiatric disorder, and forever yun. Okay? There will be a time that uh, that person or a particular patient with such conditions ay mariregain yung kanyang uh, sanity. Okay? Okay. So, kung meron tayong mga types of contract, meron din tayong mga classification ng defective contracts. Hindi lahat ng kontrata na ating pipirmahan ay valid. Di ba nga, naglabas tayo ng requisites or ng listahan, conditions, para malaman kung ang isang kontrata ay valid. So, titingnan naman natin kayo ano yung mga uh, classification ng isang defective contract. So, number 1 is voidable or annullable contract. So, these are contracts, okay, of the party, okay, that is defective either because of incapacity to give consent or where the consent is vitiated by mistake, violence, or intimidation. Ibig sabihin, okay, yung contract sa unang tingin mukhang proper, however, due to further investigation, nalaman nyo that the contract ay pinirmahan dahil sa tinakot yung isang party. Okay? So that means that contract is voidable. Okay? Pwedeng mapawalang visa yung kontrata. Okay? There is a valid contract. However, there is something, you found something na pwedeng maging cause para mapawalang visa yung kontrata. Okay? So, paano mapapawalang visa ang contract? So, paano siya magiging mapapavoid or mapapa-annul ang isang kontrata? Sa pamamagitan lang ng court order. Okay? So, again, idadaan siya sa court of law. Anong case? Civil case. Okay? Because the the violation is between two individuals. Okay? So, voidable or annullable contract. It is because of the consent. Okay. Again, pag sinabing voidable, valid naman siya nung una. However, may nakita kayong lapses. Okay? Particularly to the consent. Okay? May incapacity. Ang pinaka-defect niya is consent. Nagkaroon ng coercion. So, that is a voidable or annullable contract. Okay, so next, number 2 is void or inexistence contract. Okay, so this type of contract is void ab initio. When we say ab initio, from the very start, the contract is not valid. The contract is, or the contract has no legal effect from the very start, from the beginning, ab initio. Okay? So in the eyes of law, wala siyang bisa. Okay? Not subject to ratification, it is not valid until there is a judicial declaration. So meaning, para dahil sa ang kontratang ito ay walang bisa simula sa umpisa, hindi na kailangan ng court order para mapawalang bisa yung kontrata. However, kailangan ng court order para ma-declare naman na valid ang isang void or inexistence contract. Okay? So depende sa appreciation ng korte. So, again, magkaiba ang voidable sa void contract. Pag sinabing voidable, ito ay sa unang tingin ay proper pero merong defect, particularly sa kanyang consent. Pag sinabi mo namang void contract, it is from the very beginning ay walang bisa ang kontrata. Okay, clear? Next, unenforceable contract. So those which cannot be enforced in the court because of the existence of the following reason. Okay. Ito yung mga reason kung bakit hindi pwedeng ipatupad yung kontrata. Okay. First, okay, they were entered or the contract were entered into the behalf of another without authority or in excess of authority. Okay. So have you heard about special power of attorney? So kung nakarinig na kayo ng special power of attorney, it is a document, okay, where a particular person gives certain authority, a specific authority to to a specific person na naka-indicate doon sa special power of attorney. Okay. Let's say, magbebenta ng lupa, binigyan mo ng SPA, yung yung agent, ahente ng lupa. However, doon sa kontrata na ginawa, lumampas yung ahente doon sa naka-specify na power delegated by the owner, ng owner ng lupa. Pero nagkaroon ng kontrata between the agent and the buyer. So the contract that they made will be unenforceable. Bakit? Because the contract was entered in the behalf of another with an excess of authority. Lumampas siya dun sa authority na binibigay ng special power of attorney. Okay, that is the first reason. Second reason is non-compliance with the statute of fraud. Ano ba yung fraud? Pandaraya. Diba? So, ayan. Kapag may fraud daw, so that is already an unenforceable contract. Then, both contracting parties are incapacitated. So, yung parehas na party ay yung parehas na pumirma doon sa kontrata. Kasi parehas na silang dead, incapacity, or wala na silang capacity to perform the obligation na nakasulat doon sa kontrata. So therefore, the contract cannot be enforced. Hindi siya pwede ipatupad. Kasi both parties cannot fulfill their obligations already. Diba? Unenforceable. Then, fourth is resistable contract. Okay. So in this contract, okay, yung mga contract validity ay entered into by contracting parties but having caused economic damage or lesion to one party or a third party, or for having entered into a fraud of creditors, or without knowledge and approval by judicial authority. Okay. So, ito yung mga kontrata na may kinalaman ah, sa pondo. Okay? Let's say, yung contract ay na pinasok ng dalawang businessmen, halimbawa, yung contract na pinasok nila, valid naman siya. Yun nga lang, during the term na ini-implement yung contract, okay, hindi na force na nakita na itong kontrata na ito ay magkokos ng damage, okay, na economic damage, kasi itong kontrata na ito ay magiging sanhi ng bankruptcy ng isang party. Okay, so kapag itong contract na ito ay magiging sanhi ng bankruptcy ng isang party, so that contract can be considered as a resistable contract. Okay? So yun na yung pinakamagandang example ng resistable contract. That a particular party can be or will have a disadvantage when it comes to the benefit na makukuha. Okay? So, basically may kinalaman sa benefit or let's say income or yan. So usually naman, ito ay between businesses, yung mga ganito klase na defective contracts. Okay. So, may question po ba? Wala. Okay. So again, we will continue with the terminologies. So legal right. It is a claim which can be enforced by legal means. Okay? Against a person whose duty is to respect it. When we say legal rights, these are rights that are a person is entitled due to the existing laws. Okay? Ito yung mga karapatan na meron tayo dahil may mga batas regarding sa karapatan na ito. Okay? Diba? We have different rights according to the Philippine Constitution. We have the constitutional rights, we have our fundamental rights, diba? Okay. And ito nga yung legal rights. Okay? Next is due process. So madalas natin naririnig yan, usually sa mga balita, kapag nagkakaroon ng demandahan between certain persons, so due process. Okay? It is a fair or orderly process which aims to protect and enforce a person's right. Okay? Either it is an accused or the defendant. All persons or all people are entitled to due process of law. Next is summons. So summons, this is a writ or a command from an authorized person to notify a party to appear in court to answer a complaint made against them. Okay? So summons. So iba pa po siya sa subpoena. Okay. Subpoena, there are two types of subpoena. First is subpoena testificandum. Okay. So this type of subpoena is an order of the court or an order by the court that requires a person to attend a specific hearing, okay, to testify as a witness. Okay. Pag sinabing testificandum, ito ay person. The other type is subpoena duces tecum. Okay, this type of subpoena, okay, ito naman ay mga documents. This subpoena requires witnesses to bring documents to present in court. Okay? So again, subpoena testificandum, it pertains to a person. Subpoena duces tecum ay may kinalaman sa documents that a witness have power or nasa pangangalaga ng witness. Okay? So yun yung isinasamon. Then hearsay. Hearsay evidence are not admittable or admissible in court as evidence. Hearsay. Yung ika nga ay mga sabi-sabi, chismis, rumors, hearsay. Okay? Hindi siya pwede ma-count as evidence. Next is perjury. Perjury is the willful telling of a lie under oath. Usually sa mga hearings, di ba, ang mga witnesses or resource person ay pinag-take ng oath. At kapag ang isang tao ay nakapagsinungaling or nagsinungaling while under oath, pwede siyang kasuhan ng perjury. Okay. Then we have the term mala inse and mala prohibita. Okay. Mala inse is an act or a wrongful act or an act that is wrong from the very beginning. Mala inse. Diba? Mala means bad. Okay? Then mala prohibita is an act that is wrong because there is a law prohibiting it. Okay? So that is the difference between an action or two different actions. Let's say, originally, yung isang bagay naman ay hindi naman talaga siya a wrongful act. But due to a specific law, that action becomes a wrongful action. And that action is termed as mala prohibita. Okay? Kapag again mala inse, it is a wrongful act from the very beginning. Ways crimes are committed. Okay? First is through dolo. Dolo means deceit. Okay? The crime was performed with deliberate intent. Okay. So itong mga crime na to ay ginawa dahil sa these are intentional crime performed by deceit, dolo, deceit. Then the other one is true culpa. Culpa means fault. Diba, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. Through my fault, through my grievous fault. Okay. So these are crimes resulted from lack of knowledge and skills or negligence or lack of foresight. Culpa. So, yan yung dalawang paraan kung paano na to commit ang isang crime. Di ba may kasabihan nga tayo, uh, ignorance of the law excuses no one. Okay? So, crimes are either committed through dolo or through culpa. Okay? Conspiracy. What is a conspiracy? Conspiracy is basically can be defined as an act of one is an act of all. So yun yung basic principle uh, revolving around conspiracy. An act of one is an act of all. Okay. So there are different persons involved in a conspiracy. First, we have is the principal. Okay? The one who actually performs the crime. Tawag natin dyan ay principal. Next, we have the accomplice. Okay? So yung accomplice, ito yung taong willingly and knowingly na nag-participate doon sa pagsasagawa ng krimen. Okay. So example, okay, mamaya natin gawa pala example. Meron pang pangatlo, accessory to the crime. Okay? Before the fact and after the fact. Okay, yung before the fact, okay, one who without participating contributes or cooperates in performing the crime. After the fact naman, one who cooperates in performing the crime by concealing or destroying evidences or simply assisting the criminals to escape or the principal and the accomplice to escape. So let's say robbery. Okay, nagplano ng robbery. Okay, halimbawa, si si Mr. A, empleyado ng bangko, okay, may dala siyang mapa ng floor plan ng bangko, nagpunta siya sa meeting ng mga magnanakaw, dala-dala niya yun, pinakita niya, ito yung ng bangko, yung plano. So, plinano ngayon ng mga magnanakaw kung paano nila hold up yung bangko. Si Mr. B, siya yung mismong nang-hold up ng bangko. Okay? And, pero may kasama si Mr. B, si Mr. C. Si Mr. C, yung driver ng sasakyan. Okay? So during the end of the robbery, so nakatakas naman sila. So ngayon, sino yung principal, sino yung accessory, sino yung accomplice? Siyempre yung principal is yung si Mr. B, yung nang-hold up mismo. Then, yung accessory to the crime, sino? Mr. A o Mr. C? Mr. A. Siya ay specifically accessory after or before the fact. Then, si Mr. C, accomplice. Hindi man siya yung mismong kasama doon sa loob ng bangko, but the mere fact na kasama siya ni Mr. B na pumunta sa bangko, okay, di nga lang siya pumasok, so siya ay accessory to the crime. Kahit na sabihin natin, sir, hindi ba siya accessory lang kasi tumulong siya sa pagtakas? Sabi, hindi pa rin kasi nga from the very start ng crime or nung sinagawa yung pagnanakaw ay nandun na siya. Diba? Hindi siya after. Kung hindi, in the duration of the crime, nandun si accessory. Okay? So malinaw po yung tatlo. Okay. Again, conspiracy is the careful planning of a crime that involves more than two persons. And an act of one is an act of all. And for your assignment for next meeting, read RA 7431 or an act regulating the practice of radiologic technology and X-ray technology in the Philippines. Ilang articles meron? Parang RA 7431. Bakit may missing article? Okay? So yan. So, ano yung recitation? So, basically may kinalaman sa mga articles, Article 1, Article 2, etc. Composition ng Board of Protect, qualifications, ano pa, penalties and sanctions, subjects sa board exam, registration, etc. Definition of terms, meron din. Okay? So may question po ba? Okay. So, hindi pa ito nakapag-upload ng mga videos sa LMS, but